Hi there, this is an introduction to Miro, your new online collaboration and whiteboard tool. Let's get you started. Think of Miro as being a great big never-ending whiteboard that you can use for multiple different things, for data capture, for creating maps, imagery, capturing texts, images, creating wireframes, lots and lots of uses for Miro. So I'm going to show you today Miro through 16 different steps. Now you don't need to use all of these, but this is an introductory to each one of the different features of Miro and how to use it in a very simple way. So first and foremost is the Miro apps. So at Miro.com you will find that there are you can sign up for a browser version, so recommend you signing up straight away to the browser version. Now you can get it free or you can get a paid account. A paid account allows you to do a little bit more, but free can do to start with. You also want to download the desktop apps. So desktop app will allow you to have the window like I've got here where you can have multiple different boards open at the same time. So I can click between different views, different boards, different projects, whereas within the website or the web browser version you can only have one board open at a time. You may also want to download the mobile app, so it's available on Android and iOS as well. Now I'm going to talk you through the next step, which is how to open and create your first board. So if you come in here and have a look, we'll see this is your dashboard for Miro. In here you can click new board. So new board will open up an entirely new whiteboard essentially. Give it a moment to create the board. And from creating a board you can choose a template to start with. So if you've got something you want to go straight into, like maybe you want to create a mind map, maybe you want to create a retrospective. There's a lot of different templates in here that you can use. Miroverse are the ones that are being provided by people like myself, putting up their templates into there, and soon I'll have some of my own templates in there. But for now, I'm just going to show you what it's like to start from a blank board. So where's the blank? Oops, blank. Just click X if I want to go to a blank. Cool. So that's how you create a board. So the next tip I want to take you through is showing you the main toolbar. So the main toolbar is located over here on the left hand side. So you'll see you've got different types of tools within the toolbar. Now you can reorder these tools as to which one you like to use at what time. You can also add different things, add and remove different toolbars, tools to your toolbar, and you can click into add more apps. So there are a whole other list of tools that you can add in, or apps. So for now I'm just going to stick to what I've got here and I'll walk you through them. So the first thing you'll want to do when you get into a board is actually make sure that you've got the arrow selector selected. So you'll come in, by default you've got the hand. You can't do very much with the hand except for scroll around, so you want to make sure that you've got the selector selected. So that's a little tip there. The next one is the map and the navigation. So the map and the navigation you'll see is down on the right hand side down here. So if I click around the map of what I've got, I can actually navigate in and out. I can zoom in and out with the scroll bar here. There we go. I can make it fit to the screen, so whatever I've got inside my whiteboard, I can get it to fit to the screen. I can also make it go to full screen and come out of full screen. Now, if you've got a Mac, by default, the pinch to zoom will work, and two fingers you can drag around on your screen to move yourself around. If you're on Windows, you can set it up to work like that as well. But by default the zoom settings will be linked to your scroll button on your mouse. Now the next tip, so if you want to get started on actually using some of the features in Miro. The most important one of all is sticky notes. So a sticky note looks very similar to a post-it note. You can go over to the left hand on the toolbar, click on the color that you want, click on that and pop. So in there we'll go. This is a sticky note. Keep it all in caps because I like to. Sticky note, just like that. So I can copy and paste the sticky note, so Control C, Control V, or Command C, Command V on Mac. So you can see that I can have multiple on here, and I can have them so then they are lined up by watching the way that that does. I can also resize them, so I can make them quite small or quite large. Here like this. The other thing I can do with them is I can recolor them, so I might want to have different colors for different types of messages and notes that I want to put together. So the other thing that's handy about doing sticky notes, if you've got a lot of sticky notes to do at one time, you might want to come into bulk mode. So if you see here, bulk mode will allow you to start typing out lots of notes. You hit enter each time you finish one. And then once I'm done, I can click on done and it'll create lots of sticky notes at once. Very good for capturing whiteboards or workshops into digital format. So the next thing I want to take you through is the connectors. So just like in a mind map, you can connect your sticky notes or any of the shapes through connectors. So if I highlight by clicking on one of the sticky notes, I get these 4 dots come up. So I can actually drag straight from that. I can either drag out individually and add another shape to it, or add the same object. Or if I delete that, I can click on that and then click and drag it to join to another sticky note or another shape directly like that. Now by default it's going to give you this curvy type of arrow. If you want to do a little bit more structured style, you can do straight ones that'll keep your line straight. If you want to be a little bit more like a hierarchy, for example, you can make them the lines like this. You can move them around, so you can make like an org structure or something like that quite easily. So very good for demonstrating or displaying information by having different types of arrows, different types of shapes connected to them, etc. Okay, so that's the arrows and the connectors. Now I want to show you, so I've shown you sticky notes. There are also a whole other range of different shapes. So if you go over to the shapes on the toolbar over here, you've got kind of the quick view shapes, but you can also click on all shapes and see all of the different shapes that you've got. So for example, I might want to put a star. I can click and I can drag and shape it. If I hold in the shift button, it will lock the shape of it. Now in the shape I can recolor it, so I can make it green, and I might want to make the outline a different color. Maybe I want to make it red, and maybe I want to make the thickness of the outline. I can even change what the outline looks like. Wow, a little bit thick. So as you see, from here I can actually transform the shape into a different shape if I want to. Just automatically it can choose the different shapes. I can even transfer it back into a sticky note. Same with one of these sticky notes. I can change the sticky note into other shapes as well. Cool. So that's a quick introduction to shapes. Now another tool in here is just plain text boxes, so I can drag a text box and I can type straight into the text box. Again, once you've got a text box, you can transform it into any shape that you want. Okay. Now the next one is icons. So icons, if you want to, whoops. Okay, that's funny, not working right now. So I've just been in contact with the Miro product team, and they have said that there is currently an issue with the icon finder, but there is an alternative, which is to use the Google image search, which is just as powerful, but there's just a little bit of a trick in here to do stuff. So normally when you come into the Google image search, it will search for anything. So for example, if I put cats, what it's going to bring back is mainly images of cats themselves, which may not necessarily be very helpful when you're doing a presentation. So I find that using clip art or using a line drawing is actually a little bit more useful for presentations. So for example, I might want to put a representation of a chart. If I put it in clip art mode, I'll click on, say, this one here, pie chart, and it should give me a PNG version of that I can now add to my image, to my thing. So just like that, easy peasy. The next one after that is frames. So frames is a good way to frame your information. So by default, if you hit frame, you can create a custom one, or you can create what is an A4 shape or 16:9 letter shape. You can do phone or tablet. So it'll allow you to put a frame around the information that you're trying to do. So say you're trying to create a mock-up of a mobile phone screen, you can lock it to that. If you want to print something out as a frame on A4, you can do it like this. Now you can also select a range of items and then create a frame around them. Now frames are very useful for going through a presentation mode, which I'll show you in a moment, but it's also very good for being able to export any information as an image or as a PDF. So for example here, I can select that frame, right click on it, and I can export it now as an image. So if I go downloads, take my downloads, and that's now downloaded as an image, and I can download it as a PDF, I can download it as whatever I want to download it as. Okay, so that's a little bit of an intro to frames. One other thing on frames actually, if you've got a frame, you can copy a link to the frame, and I'll talk a little bit about sharing in a moment, but if I copy a link to that, it's going to copy it to my clipboard, and I can share out a link to that frame. So if I want somebody to come straight into a particular place on my roadmap or on my whiteboard here, I can link to it by right click on the frame and go copy link. So the other thing I can do with the frame is I can lock it. So if I'm complete on something, or I don't want somebody to bump something and move it around, I can click on it, highlight it, and then I can click on lock. So now anything, that didn't work. Sorry, I got to select the entire thing. Let me try that again. Now I can do that. I can click on lock. Okay. Now everything in there is locked. I can't touch it, so no one's gonna move it around by accident. So if I want to unlock it, I can long press to unlock it again. Okay. So the next tip I have is called timer. So a timer is very useful if you're doing a workshop or if you're doing a meeting or something like that where you want to get some input on something. Timers are fantastic because it can show over the screen while you're all collaborating on this. So a timer is here. You'll find the timer in the add more apps section, so you can add it in. It's It's quite easy. It's down here in the presentation toolbar, which I'll go through in 2 seconds. So time is fantastic for doing this. It's quite simple. Start, stop, easy peasy. So the next one, templates. So templates you'll see are in here. Yep, so showed you some of these to start with, but templates are very good for adding another element to your whiteboard. So for example, I might want to add a mind map, so it starts me off with a nice templated mind map. Click on this and go add. And there you go, it's got a mind map template to help you go through a bit of a workshop on mind mapping, on how to do stuff. And it'll add it to your board, and then you can select it, you can move it around, you can resize it as needed, you can even lock it if you want to. Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you was presentation toolbar. So presentation toolbar is where you can get a lot of power out of Miro. So Miro can look a little bit messy at times because it is just a big whiteboard, but never before have you been able to take a whiteboard and turn it into a professional presentation until you have got a concept like Miro. So how presentation mode works is it moves from frame to frame. So if I create frames around the different bits of information that I need to present, and creating the frame, just move those over a little bit. Cool. Now I'll click on the frames section here, and it's going to bring up all my different frames. So this is going to present it up almost like a PowerPoint or a slideshow version that you can reorder those and you can change the names of them, etc. Then once I've got them here and I've got them reordered, what I can do is I can click on presentation mode. Presentation mode is going to bring up this little toolbar down the very bottom here, and once I click on play, it'll actually allow me to present them up as slides. So taking all of that information, turning it into something that's very easily presentable. Just to exit, just to get out of that, click on that. Okay. So going back to my list, and the last thing is notes. Second last thing is notes. So up here you've got notes. So notes is a very good thing for you to take notes about your board. So say I was setting this up as my roadmap, I could call this my Q2 heading Q2 roadmap, and it could be presentation description, target audience, I could put it in there, competition, conclusions, I could put those as actions. Oops. I could put in some to-dos of workshop, and I can essentially have a little project management tool on the side here to manage me through the development of my roadmap and keeping everyone on the same page around what it is and where we're at. Okay, so that's notes. So notes, you can use it however you want to, and there's a couple of templates that you can add in there as well. So I'm just going to exit out of that, and it's up there. Now the last thing I want to show you with Miro is sharing. So sharing is where you get a lot of power out of Miro. So as I've discussed before, a roadmap is only useful if everyone's reading from the same map. So Miro allows you to create that shared understanding and that shared map. You can be in power of this one board, but you can also share it out to different stakeholders that can have different accesses to it as well. So all included in the free account, you can share this out to anybody. Now I can make it so then they can just view it. I can make it so they can comment, so they can right click on any element and they can comment on it, or I can give them edit access. Now if I create that link to that right now, anyone with the link can access it. But if I create a password, so for example password, I can now create that password and I can copy the board link. Now anybody I share that link with, as long as they have that password, they can be inside this board and they can be editing it the same as me. And that is it. Nice introduction, quick and easy. Miro, get in there, start collaborating. Enjoy!